I want to get like I don't want to get into it, but I want to get like people are so convinced like, and then we've had Nate Corey on the show, we've had John Fitch on the show. The Ali Act's gonna save box MMA.
No.
No, it's not. It's gonna make it like this. It's gonna make it. It's not gonna make it like this. It's just
No.
not gonna. You're not gonna get what you think you're gonna get. I think they have this expectation like all these guys are gonna make money. No, no, they're not. We've got 13, 14 fights on a card now. Well, this show had like five, and sure they made good money. But now what about all those people that are on the undercards? They're not gonna have a platform to go to anymore. And then they're not like their idea is that the UFC is a monopoly. It's not a monopoly. There's the PFL, there's ONE, there's Bellator, there's LFA. They're not a monopoly.
No,
So
they're just the biggest promotion.
yeah, like I don't.
Someone, and if it wasn't the UFC, someone else would be in that position as the biggest promotion.
Yeah, I get tired of going on the Twitter and seeing all this. When I had the comment the last week about if you guys want to get fighters paid more money, start promoting other organizations. That's really support the other organizations. Support the other athletes that are in
Support the
those other
sport.
organizations. Yeah. And I'm not saying that because everyone's like, oh, well, you work for Bellator, that's why you're saying it. If you were working for the UFC, you wouldn't say that. No, I actually would still be saying that.
No, because then you wouldn't be working for the UFC because they don't let you say that.
Yeah, true. Because here, look, I work for Bellator, but we talk about ONE. And I tell you, like if Eddie Alvarez was fighting, Demetrius was fighting. I liked Timothy Nastasiuk, and I watched his fight the other night. I like watching Christian Lee fight as well. I watched that fight. Yeah, we're gonna continue to talk about MMA on this show.
Well,
that means all of the platforms. Anthony Pettis is coming up. Lance Palmer's coming up. We're gonna talk about the PFL. You guys gotta start not just talking about them, but like get on your social media and say, hey, Pettis is fighting tonight. Let's get it all together. Start talking about that stuff. The media doesn't cover them at all until the week of the fight. Whereas the media slurping up on the UFC, which is fine. I get it. They are the biggest promotion. We can go ahead and say that. But the other thing, though, is that if you want to make sure that fighters are getting paid more money, stop getting on Twitter and complaining about, the UFC. That's all I see. Like, John Fitch is my boy, but all it is it's a continuous, like, there's never anything positive about anything else. It's just negative about the UFC. Hey, do something positive on your social media. Get on there and start saying about, hey, Eddie Alvarez is this damn good. Christian Lee is this good. Patricio's a fucking animal. Logan Storley is this good. Yaroslav Amosov, Douglas Lima. You can go through these names. Demetrius Johnson, like
Lance
all
Palmer.
these guys. Just start Lance Palmer. Start talking about these. Chris Wade. Start talking about all these other fighters in these other organizations, and just start pumping them, man. Like, and you'll be like, oh shit, there's another guy over there that I like. There's another guy over here that's really good. That's the way to get into the UFC's pocketbook. You're not going to get it the other way. All you've done now, they've taken the money away from sponsors. If we start doing that, and I'm not just talking about just Bellator, I'm saying do that for every promotion. Now that those promotions are making more money, which means what? They can afford to pay fighters more money. Because the next thing I'm going to tell you guys is those other promotions, they have to pay more to get the fighters to come to them. Because the most fighters want to try to get to the UFC. So they're already getting hit. And then when the fans are when other fighters don't support the other organizations, especially the ones that fight in those organizations, you're only hurting yourself. Because if you do lose and you wash out of, say, Bellator or PFL or whatever it is, you're not going to go to the UFC, and they're not going to pay. If you ever do go, they're going to pay you peanuts, and they know that. So if you want to make money in any of the other organizations, for me, when I went to Bellator, I went because it was a family atmosphere for me. I'm really good friends with Rich Chow, really good friends with Mike Hogan, really good friends with obviously you, and Coker and everybody else that worked for him. So I went there because I could have went to ONE. ONE was interested in me. I could have went to, it was called World Series of Fighting. I could have went there also, but I chose to go to Bellator because that's where I felt like family. You have to develop that. I think for other fighters, you have to figure out where you would like to call home and go there. DC left when he left Strikeforce. He went to the UFC. He found his home. He likes it.
Well, he didn't leave Strikeforce. They bought.
He didn't leave, but
he was bought. And they had his contract.
But I'm saying he made it feel like home. He's got a nice little family type atmosphere there. You know what I mean? But he can do that anywhere. But he likes it there. and he's successful there. And I tip my hat to him for being that person. But my point is that guys like Nate Corey, guys like John Fitch, other guys that sit on the internet and just bitch and whine and cry all the time about the UFC, it sounds
Not helping your cause.
but you sound like a bitter old fighter.
Not helping your cause.
And you're not helping at all. It's not at all. You're like, yeah, but we have this class action lawsuit. I get it. But in the process of that, why don't you guys try and help the other organizations build up their platform as well by pumping it out there and then start putting pressure on the media to talk about the other organizations so the fighters can start making money also in those organizations. That's the biggest thing. Like, being negative all the time on social media is not going to get us anywhere. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's politics, whether it's fucking
negative in anything's not going to.
Yeah, negative in anything. So the reality is that we have to start getting off that shit and start, and if you're going to be on it, pump good shit, and that's going to start helping the other promotions grow, so they can start paying the other fighters more money. Anyways, that's my rant for the day.
That's a good rant. I like it.
Good. I mean, am I right or am I wrong, John? What do you think?
No, look, you're right. And this is the whole point. Just to think that the Alley Act is going to change something for fighters. It'll change certain things. They'll have more of an idea. It'll change it for the big guys. The John Jones will have a better outlook on exactly how much he's making compared to what the UFC's making, compared to what all the other fighters are, because they have to have an open book about the percentage that the promotion is making compared to the percentage that the fighters are making. But that's always for the top guys. And in boxing, it's no different. You have the top guys making a ton of money, but there's very few of those top guys. Everyone thinks that overall boxers make more money than MMA fighters. Overall, if you're looking at all of them, no, the MMA fighters actually make more money. MMA promotions pay more money than boxing promotions, especially when you're talking lower level fighters. So it's not going to be this thing where it's going to just change things automatically. The ranking system. It's a ranking system. But the belts for MMA are different than the belts for boxing. Belts for MMA are promotional. Belts for boxing are sanctioning bodies. The WBC, the WBA, the WBO, the IBF, those are all sanctioning bodies that the boxer ends up having to pay money to out of their purse to have that sanctioning body actually sanction the fight. So, when you see a boxer and you see there's a $200,000 sanctioning fee coming out of the fighter's purse, that ain't funny, man. That's real. And all of that, is money out of the fighter's purse. So, yes, promotionally, the belt for the UFC is just the UFC's belt. It's not a world title. People associate the world title based upon, they want to say that, okay, that we think the UFC is the best. Okay, we're going to say that's a world title. Okay. Bellator's is a promotional belt. One's is a promotional belt. All of those, that's never going to change. So if that goes to the Alley Act, yeah, it'll change. Now, instead of having promotional belts, you'll have the sanctioning body thing. It's not going to change anything.
Well, for me, I feel like it's the 14 fights you had. Like, we had 14 fights this last show for Bellator. Mm-hmm. Okay, you go to a boxing format, sure, you'll have the main event and maybe one fight below that will be making more.
Five, six bouts.
Yeah, but you'll have 5 or 6 bouts. Mm-hmm. So you're saying that you're willing to take the food out of those people's mouths and out of their households. The other, 8 other fights that were on that card.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're talking 8 fights, that's 16 fighters that you're taking off of the card that can't feed their family now. Now, and don't get me wrong. Look, I get it. They can do something else. But that's not what they got into this for.
No, they didn't get in to do something else. They got in it to be a fighter.
Yeah, then now they're going to go to some hole in the wall at the fairgrounds and fight in that organization, potentially get hurt with no insurance. The promotion won't pay them. All because we want to implement something. Look, the UFC has done, the UFC, MMA, all the whole promotions have done something different. This is something different. You guys see something better. You think you see something better because now later on, after you're done with your career, I don't know where you're at financially. I don't know where you're at, mentally and all those things. I don't know that. And I know it's different for every fighter, but we all made the choice to get in there.